So it is about 8 days before I leave to go to Vietnam, and it's been really kind of a tenuous situation. Like emotionally, it's been tenuous, but yeah, I've got some stuff to figure out, some last minute like travel insurance. I have a list. I gotta clean my room. I gotta reset deposits and reset accounts so that way I can have money flowing in like I want to and stuff like that. But I decided that I was going to stop and tell a story about what happened a few months ago while I was working security at a event called Firefly on the East Coast. Kendrick Lamar was there, Eminem was there, a lot of famous people. And this story basically goes to show that you can't always judge people by their cover. Basically, it's a story how I would describe him as a good old boy, only because he was an older gentleman, white, kind of a stocky figure, had a whole bunch of chaw tobacco I heard his lip. Not a lot of teeth in his head, but the nicest guy you could ever meet. I don't know if he voted for Trump. We're just not going to get into that, but he actually stood between myself and a raging liberal. So, what happened was, on the third day of Firefly, was posted to watch the beer tent, the Dogfish Head gathering place, arena place, whatever you want to call it. And I was with a particular gentleman who just was not paying attention. And not that anything was going to pop off, because it just wasn't. But you just never know. You really, you don't ever really know what's going to happen. So you always want to be on your P's and Q's, head on a swivel, right? That's what you want. Well, one of my team members refused to keep his head on a swivel. So the first time I mentioned this to this dude, I came up, I angled up to the side of him and grabbed him by his arm and was like, yo, what is you doing? And he was like, oh. I'm like, dude, he was like, I'm supposed to be watching that area over there. It's true. I'm supposed to be watching that area over there. But, like, watch your back as well. Because I need you to be able to watch my back and keep your head on a swivel. So that way, in case I get shanked in the kidney, you there with me. Also, by the way, I'm sipping a Vasen vanilla Dubel. This is real good. Anyway, he don't take criticism, so I was like, okay, that's cool. In the back of my head, it's like, we're probably going to revisit this a little bit later. We will. Okay. So the day wears on, and I am placed in a different area, but with the same grouping of people and with this non-observant individual. So during the Kendrick Lamar set, where I'm guarding a gate, and across the way, about maybe 75 feet away, he is guarding a porta potty. Now, according to Firefly, last year they had incidences because the porta potties were unmarked. This is only by hearsay, but I don't have verifiable proof of this because last year I was working the gate. It was madness, but that's a whole other story. Whew, make my dreads hurt. That's a whole other story. Anyway. The porta potties were unmarked. This year they decided to mark them so women wouldn't be assaulted by men, and a lot of women were actually very thankful for that. So, woo! And so this young man, was supposed to be guarding the gentleman's porta potty, only he wasn't. He was sitting up there staring at his phone, talking to other coworkers and just shooting shit. And so the supervisor that was over us this particular day was like, he ain't guarding nothing. I bet someone could sneak up in there and something would happen. And yeah, we should probably do that. I was like, pick me, right here. I want to do it. Pick me. Now, let me preface this by saying I have been told that I have a rather mannish, masculine gait. Take that however you want. Like, basically, I walk like a man. Whatever. So I was like, I volunteered. I'll do it. So as the voluntary tribute, volunteering as tribute. Was it this one? Was it this one? I'm not Katniss. Oh, side note again. That's from archery. I am not Katniss. I am no Katniss. Twing! Anyway, so I was like, I'll do it. So I had on my long cargo shorts. I borrowed another coworker's, another security guard's jacket, put on my hat, put on some sunglasses, right? And they're like, oh, you really gonna do it? You really gonna do it? And the gentleman that was the supervisor, yeah, she gonna do it. Oh, yeah. Twing! So I was like, okay. So I walked around, kind of blended in the crowd, moved back around, made it into the vicinity of the porta potty, went into the men's porta potty. I didn't go all the way into the men's porta potty. I don't need to see all that. I'm not impressed. That doesn't do it for me. Stood there for about like 3 seconds, came out, looked this individual dead in the eye, took off my hat, and said, that's what the you get. That's what I busted myself in the eyeball. Okay, ow. See, that's what I get. But that's what you get. That's what you get. Okay? And then I proceeded to lightly pop him upside the head like a Gibbs slap from NCIS. Only he didn't take it that way, so I mean, whatever. Anyway, so I make my way back over to my supervisor. This man yelling behind me, hey. And I turn around. Once I get to my supervisor, I turn around. Supervisor places himself between him and me. And he just looks at him, and while this offended party stares at me and says, don't you ever touch me again. And I'm just looking me with my petty shit-eating grin on my face. Fair enough. Do your job. Can't hurt nobody. I mean, maybe stop a sexual assault or two. Do your job. That's what we do. Anyway. That being said, the supervisor could have stood there and just let us go back and forth. He was a nice guy. But also, at the end of the day, do your job. I know it's a porta potty, but, be excellent at what you do. Also, side note, I gotta tell you the other story. That's later. How me and a proverbial sworn enemy of corporate America, of a previous job that I used to work at, wound up working the porta potties while watching, and guarding the porta potties while watching Eminem, and getting to know each other at the same concert. That's a whole nother story. But, yeah. Anyway, I gotta get back to planning and getting my life together. It's gonna be great. Vietnam, 2018. I sold my car today. That was rough. She was a Chevy HHR Rhapsody. Moment of silence. Drink one up to that. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna miss that car. I really am. But it's all for good things. So, anyway, more inspirational videos to come. I will talk to you all later. Bye.